Good morning. I thought I would pop in here and do a little video so that we can continue on the journey that is my testimonies. So here we go. Where I left off, I had just found out that I was pregnant after Scarlett. And so then we went to see if we could get like an early ultrasound. It was so early that they could not even see the baby. So we had to wait, and this whole time I was telling my husband that I believed there was twins in there. And he's like, "You better hope not." And I'm like, "Wow, that'd be amazing." And we waited a few more weeks to be able to go to get ultrasounds. But in this time, I was taking care of Scarlett. She was about 6 months old. Up until this point, my husband, and after, he was not helping. He was not interested very much in Scarlett. She needed extra time and attention because she was a heart baby. And I was having to get up every hour and a half to feed, as I mentioned. And some nights I was so exhausted, I would literally fall asleep holding her, feeding. And he was not willing to assist me in any way during the day or during the night. I was completely exhausted with zero help, which some people have help and they should be very thankful for that. I did not, and I was still expected to do all the normal things as if I didn't just have a baby that needed extra assistance. So then when I became pregnant again, it was just me on that boat. And the sad thing is that everybody likes all the fun and excitement for the baby. Oh, you're pregnant, and have little showers and all this stuff like that, and that's amazing. But then nobody comes back to check on you on a day-to-day basis if you're okay. No one cares if you've had enough sleep. No one cares if there's dinner. Half the time I didn't even know what to eat. My husband was like, "What do you want to eat?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know what I want to eat." And he's like, "How can you not know what you want to eat?" I'm like, "I'm exhausted. My brain, all I can think about is her and making sure she's okay. Just sit something in front of me and I will eat it." And so he was so frustrated with me, but I couldn't offer anything other than that. Waking up every night, every hour and a half was beyond exhausting. With no help. I was sleeping every chance I got. When she would nap, I would nap. She was a very sweet baby. She was not a fussy baby. But with no help, I mean, it's so hard. And you're trying to heal, so you're extra tired. Your body's trying to take care of itself, and you're also trying to pump or, the breastfeeding. I was trying to breastfeed, but nobody seems to care. Society in itself wants to just push women right back to work, but they don't let them take time to realize that their body needs time. And birth can be very traumatic. Even if it goes well, it can still be traumatic, especially when you already have trauma and this like new life is coming out of your hoo-ha, and your hoo-ha has trauma. So how would that not affect me? Or all of you if you have that same issue. So it was hard for me to come to the place where I realized I have to be patient with myself. I want instant results. I want road runner results, but that's not practical. It's not. And that's an unrealistic standard that is like lingering over us. We have to be realistic in what we expect of ourselves. Otherwise, we'll get so frustrated And I'm sure that's a plan of the enemy, so frustrated that we're not moving fast enough, that we're not appreciative of the pace that we are going, and therefore we stop. I can see how that would be the enemy, making you jealous of somebody's chapter 55 when you're at chapter 5. Don't judge somebody else's last chapter or ending book, comparing it to your first chapter, first book. I'm bad about that. I'll look at somebody who's been saved and sanctified for many years and be like, why am I not like that? But they're older than I am. They didn't go through what I went through. Most people wouldn't have made it through what I've went through. So my pace might be slower, but I'm going. I mean, some battles that I go through, it's a fight to fast. I'm just keeping it real. It's a fight to fast. It's a fight to pray. It's a fight to read my Bible. It's a fight. And then other times I'm just cruising. And slaying left and right. But you have to understand that each demonic issue is a different size, is a different strength. If you've had it longer, that thing is inset. It will take more time, more strength, more energy, more perseverance. So it's on times that you have issues fasting, say like me, for example. I have no issues fasting, but when you do have issues fasting, maybe fast till noon, maybe meet in the middle with a Daniel fast, maybe give up, I don't know, your favorite food. Like maybe you're a chocoholic and you love your chocolate. Give up your chocolate. Show that you're making some effort. If you struggle read the Bible, put it on audio and just follow along. Sometimes my brain can't process. Sometimes I have very loud and proclamation type praying, and other times I pray quietly and within myself. And praying is praying. You have to do what you can do. Sometimes we feel tired. Sometimes we feel weak. Rebuke all the things that are making you feel weak. And if you still feel that way, keep going. Keep going. A lot has been happening for me lately, and I am still trying to do my own stuff. I just keep going. I don't know what to tell you. I just keep going. Half of the battle is continuing to go when you have no go left in you. Think of a football player, and he's trying to reach that goalpost, and he's just chugging on with all these men holding him, right? And he's just like, like one more step. Or he's just trying to pull as much as he can to get a few more yards in before he falls, right? So that's you. That's you. So that was a side note for free. So while I was getting no help, I'm just looking at my list, keep me on track. I was just doing all the things I was always doing. And we went to that ultrasound and I said, is there twins? Is there twins? And she's like, I just see one baby. And I'm like, that's weird. I feel twins. I feel two in there, not one. And she says, nope, I just see one. And so my husband was like, oh, thank goodness. And I was like, stop that. Like, no, my babies are wanted. I'm excited for my babies. And let me see where I would be. So then, time was going on. I want to say it was like 20, 25 weeks. I was carrying Scarlett down the stairs, my oldest, down the stairs, and she was, not even a year old yet. She was little. Keep in mind, she was extra little because she had gotten down to 5 pounds from not being able to get breast milk once my milk came in because of her high palate and her lip tie. So she was tiny. So I was carrying her down, and probably I want to say it was 3 steps up, there was something on the step and I tripped on it. And at the bottom of the step was tile. So ceramic, porcelain, no, not porcelain. Like, it looked like a stone tile. It was stone tile. And I fell. I was pregnant and I fell with my baby in my arms. So imagine this is me walking down the stairs and I just did a dead drop, like WWE off the corner drop. And I was thinking, oh, I'm going to crush my baby's head. Because even if I didn't fall on her, dropping a baby from 3 steps up on the stairs to stone tile, her head was going to crack. Y'all, I put everything that I had into me. I put everything I had in me into holding her up. And I had her cradled in my arm like you would have a baby. So I don't know if you can see me. I popped my arm real high up and I held her up above my body. And I took that complete fall to my body because I was holding her up. And she did not hit this, I keep wanting to say cement because it was like stone. I hit the stone. My body was flat to the side and I hit the stone. And her head did not hit the stone because it was in the corner, the bend of my elbow. And and I watched her the whole time. She just bounced and we slid because the way my stairs were, you go like this and it had a little curve. And right there was the bottom. So as I was coming down, I fell sideways off the top, the third up. So off the top of what would be the bend, if that makes sense. And so there was a wall right there. And so we could have also bashed into the corner. And so after her head bounced a little bit on the bend of my elbow, it bumped a little bit in the corner. She had no bruises. I don't recall any bruises. She was just crying, scared because I bounced her, But I took the fall, the complete fall to my belly. And I was like, Lord Jesus, keep my baby. I felt fine. But then about a few days later, I started bleeding. I started having contractions. And Scarlett, even though she was a little baby, she started being very upset. She's like, and she kept rubbing my belly and put her head on my belly. I think she knew something was wrong. And I was laying in bed and I told my husband, I said, something's wrong. I fell down the stairs and he was just like, geez, keep it together. He had no sympathy or empathy for the fact that I was tired, carrying a baby, walking down the stairs. None of it. No compassion about that. And so I called the doctor and I was like, hey, I'm bleeding. I'm spotting blood. Can I come in and make sure everything's all right? And I told them what happened. And they're like, oh, you're fine. A little spots. It's fine. I'm just looking at my notes. I said, something feels different. I said, I was spotting. I didn't spot for my first time. Something feels different. And they're like, oh, you're fine. And so then I went in, when it was time for another ultrasound, they're like, your belly is so big, extra big for your baby. And maybe your baby's a big baby. They're like, she's probably going to be extra big. And I'm like, I don't know. Scarlett was really little. And when I was little, I was very little too. And my dad had told me that they tried to give me pills or shots or something, I don't know, as a baby to grow me. But I was not having, my dad was not having that. And so I said, something feels different. And I just had to go on, even though something felt different, because nobody would believe me. No one believed there was twins. No one seen the twins. All the time I did ultrasounds, all the time they were feeling around, nobody ever did. So then I remember I was in the bathroom and I sat on the toilet, just kind of like rubbed my belly or whatever, putting on shoes, I forget what it was. And Scarlett came over and she kissed my belly. And I said, I know it's time for her to come on, because it was another girl. And we named her Summer because she was due at the end of July. And so we were sticking with S names. So I said, Summer it is. That sounds beautiful. Summer it is. So, because I said she felt like a lazy, drinking sweet tea, watching the sunset kind of baby, just like chilling, enjoying it. So I said, Summer. Chris, my husband, came up with the name Summer. And so we loved it. And while we were still, I said, just in case, let's have a second name. And I said, what about Savannah? That would be a pretty second name. And he's like, okay, if there's a second baby. So then when my water broke, we went to the hospital, and they didn't have any room, so we were sitting there in the emergency room in a bed, and we got a message from his aunt, and she's like, hey, are you sure you're not supposed to name that baby Savannah? And I said, oh, no, it's Summer. Why? And she's like, I just had a dream about Savannah. And I had such peace about that dream. And we had told nobody about the possible twins. We had told nobody about the possible name Savannah. So that was confirmation for me that she was okay, even though she wasn't with me. And so it was 42 weeks in, because they wanted to go in and get her via C-section, but I said, no, she'll come when she's ready. And so it was 42 weeks. She had cooked in there extra. And so my contractions were acting funny. They said, you're not contracting, and it looks like something is blocking her way, so she's not moving down into the birth canal. So they said, we don't know, maybe she has the umbilical cord tied around her neck. We're hoping that's not the case, but we'll see once we get in there. And they had to give me Pitocin, which I know now that there's a lot of issues with it, but I didn't have any issues. Praise Jesus. My contractions were not coming. And that Pitocin is way different than natural birth. So in my natural birth, when I did feel it before I was actually in active labor, I felt just like a tightening of my stomach. That's all that I felt. That's all that I ever felt. And that was only towards, like I said, the beginning of the contractions, not when I was in active labor. But the Pitocin, I felt like this big siren type circle that would funnel right to the tip of my spine. And it would just feel like someone was digging me right above my butt. And I'm like, oh, that was awful. And so then it would just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And eventually I'm like, she's coming out. And they're like, well, we're not ready for her yet. So unless you want your baby just to drop on the floor. I'm like, what? They're like, well, we're not set up, so you better hold it in. And I was just like, what a terrible thing. And it just happened to be the same doctor that birthed Scarlett. So yay for that. She was really aggressive to me. And she's like, oh yeah, I remember you. Let's keep the baby on the table. And I was just like, okay, really rude, but okay. And so I held her in as long as possible, and then I started pushing. I'm like, I can't hold her anymore. You know, the Pitocin was still pushing out. And then she was born, and she had full head of black hair. She looked just like me when I was a baby. And instantly Chris held her. My husband held her. And that really sat with me the wrong way. And I'm like, you wouldn't hold Scarlett, but you instantly held Summer. And he just held her, and he smiled, and he cuddled, and all the things. And I'm just like, they're both my babies. They're both your babies. You know, what the heck? And that just really rubbed me the wrong way. And so then I'm checking my list. So then afterwards I went to the room, and in both situations he left me with the baby by myself at the hospital. And every time I gave birth, my husband acts like it has to be something about him, and he's like tries, I don't know if he tries, but he ends up being injured or has poison ivy or something crazy. Every time something is going on with me, he has to like outshine my situation in some way. And it's so frustrating. Not that like it has to be about me, but half the time when we go to the doctors about me, for when I was pregnant, or even still now, like he has some kind of issue that they're like, are you okay? Do you need help? And I'm like, I'm right here. He didn't even come for help. Like, over here, focus over here. And so he left me there in the room, and he went down to the emergency room acting like, he's like, I think I'm having I don't know, pancreatitis or some titus. Some, you know, like, oh, what is that thing called? I don't know. But I forget what the name is. But so we went down there. I'm like, dude, you're just dehydrated. Drink some water. Your back is just having a spasm. And that's exactly what it was. And he's like, well, I had to check. And, oh, what about me? And I'm like, dude, I just had a baby. Get over yourself. You know, he wasn't even trying to help me with her. He didn't care that I didn't sleep. He didn't care, nothing. But when I was birthing Summer, they're like, oh, the reason she can't move down is because there was another sack with a baby. And of course, they did not show me. I don't know how much of the baby still remained in the sack, because I heard that it dissolves if the baby passes, but it had its own sack. And that's why Summer could not move down in the birth canal. That was the thing that was blocking her. So when I fell, my other baby had died, and the doctor wouldn't see me before, if you recall, and they always told me I was lying. And so my husband was just like, well, we never knew it was there anyway, so it's not like you lost anything. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I told you that baby was in there the whole time. The whole time. I felt that baby in there. I felt the personalities of two babies. I know that sounds crazy, but all I can chalk it up to is I'm an empath. I can read a room. I can feel people. I don't know how else to tell you, but I knew there was two babies in there. And then when it was just Summer, I remember feeling like she was even at a distance, like something was blocking her from me. Something was a barrier between us. I didn't feel her as close as I felt Scarlett. I didn't feel her in the same way that I felt Scarlett. And I just... It was so sad. I was happy that I had my baby, but I had lost another baby that nobody knew about but me. So when Summer and I were in the hospital room, she was such a happy, calm baby. And then it was like 3:00 in the morning, and the nurse is like, "Hey, I'll take the baby and do her little foot prick thing and all the things, and then I'll bring her back." And I had a sandwich sitting there from when we had went in, and I was like, she's like, "You eat and I'll bring her back." Well, then something started feeling really weird. I felt really uncomfortable in my spirit, and I was like, "Where's my baby? How do I?" And I was like, hitting all the buttons, like, "Where's my baby? Where's my baby?" And they're like, "Oh, she's almost done." And then she wasn't the same. Something was wrong. She was crying and she was agitated and she wouldn't try to nurse anymore. And she was crying off and on, off and on. And so even after we took her home, they let me go home the next day. Even after they let me take her home, it was nearly a week and she was still crying. And I was like, this is not my baby. What is wrong? What is wrong with this baby? This was not the baby. I mean, yes, it was my actual baby. They didn't switch babies, but the baby was not behaving in the same way. She was so upset and so, agitated and crying, and something felt really off. So then at like her second or third, I think it was 2-month appointment at the doctor, they were asking me about pokies. And I said, no, I'm not interested in that. I don't, maybe delayed. I didn't know what to tell her. I was just like, maybe delayed, but something felt off. And so I'm not trying to do anything else. And she's like, well, you already had one at the hospital, I see. And I'm like, no, I did not agree to any of that. She's like, oh, she had the Hep B shot. And I was like, no, I didn't give it to her. She goes, yeah, right here, they gave it to you when she was born at the hospital. And I'm like, that's what it was. That's why something was wrong with her. She had some sort of small adverse reaction, and it was just that one. And I bet you they gave it to her and didn't even check that she wasn't supposed to have anything at all. I didn't approve that. And that's what was wrong. And I was like, no, I did not approve that. And the doctor's just like, okay, so. And it was already too late. I couldn't prove anything. It had been, 2 months. And I was furious. And I feel like you hurt my baby. And I was so enraged, and I'm just like, the injustice, because I can't do anything about it, But we'll continue with this story in the next video. But I wanted to let you know, like, comment, share, subscribe. All the things help the channel. But we'll continue with the saga. I just wanted to pop on here and do a short video and bring you up to speed on the next train ride. And if you have any questions, comments, keep it kind and clean. Put it in the comments. Everything helps. Thumbs up is free. Following is free. Thank you so much. And check out my other videos. They go in order, in number. So if something doesn't make sense, start at the earliest video and go all the way up. It tells it in order. So that'll help out. I hope you have a great day. Bye.